I'm gonna go back to Gordoth on Sunday. I haven't not discovered this here area. Haven't I gone to Tinker Town? Oh well. I'm gonna be going to Ironforge. That's great, isn't it? It is indeed great. And I'll actually have reason to explore Ironforge now. Previously, I didn't have good reason to explore it. I knew where everything was, everything I needed to find, of course, because I had a little chat with the respective individuals. The cooking master in Ironforge. Master. Yeah. Oh. Hold on. There, that's better. I still have the opportunity to reap some rewards from practicing my oh, peace booms. I hope you didn't hear that scream, by the way. I've been a little quieter today, haven't I? Yeah, I think I've been a bit quieter. There it is. Woo! I've got to run fast. Run fast. They don't stack. Carrying a cask of fresh Drogon's IPA. Bring it back to the bronze kettle in Ironforge. Doesn't look too bad. Looks pretty cool. Although I tried to stack the move speed bonus with Death's Advance, didn't work. Make way, make way! I bring goods! Bring goods! Dun, 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 dun. And they're all seeing me with the IPA and they're making way. Oh shit, get out of the way! They're opening the doors, holding them open, making the chickens get away out of my feet so that I don't trip, fall, and have all the IPA splatter across the ground. Look at the entrance to Ironforge, it's magnificent. It looks really imposing. I wonder, who is this? Is it Moradin Bronzebeard? Is it Magni Bronzebeard? Who could it be? I don't know. The delivery is still being made. We're just barely gonna make it. We're just gonna barely make it. Fresh bread for sale. Sraz, the pie vendor, who sells pie. There you are. I was starting to think you'd made off with the beer.
How are ya?
Ah, well done. I tell ye, that dragon's a true polymath, explorer, historian, brewer. Is there anything that man hasn't mastered?
Watch your back. What's on your mind?
Huzzah! My cooking skill has increased.
Safe travels. Bread on me.
Recipe for smoked sagebrush. Let's learn how to cook that. cookmaster here doesn't have an actual cook. Oh no, you do have. You have pair of pot belly stoves. Okay, let me cook some roasted boar meat. Ah, there we go. It's no longer worth making them. You basic boar ribs. Oh, 86. 87. Can you get it 88? Come on, 88? Ah, crap. Oh well, I guess that's that. This is worth 3, this is worth 6. Alright, let's cook them up. Either way, that's gonna make us a bit more money. Oops. You don't sell anything, but I do know someone who sells stuff. Okay. Oh wait, I could have entered that, could I have? Yeah, I could have. But there's literally nothing in here. I could jump out of the window. Oh! Thistle Fuzz Arcanum. Those are enchanters and scriptures. No readable books if I remember correctly. Okay. Cask and Anvil. Oh, that's a tavern. Oh, it's not an anvil? No, it's not a tavern?
Hi, how are you?
What?
You have a great day now.
Off with you.
Interesting, a pint? Off with you. This is the Ironforge physician. Herbalism? And an alchemist, I guess? I don't know. Is he a building? There's something. Oh, it's an armorer. Is it? Looks like an armorer. Doesn't seem to be an actual armorer. It's just a building. I'm gonna pass by the Council of the Three Hammers thing. This place. Dark Iron Guards. There's a bed and everything. Ambassador Slaghammer. Dark Iron Ambassador. Oh, so this is the Dark Iron Embassy? Okay. Yeah, this is fine spindles, leather goods, stone brows.
You got my attention.
Courier. Greetings and salutations, hero. I have the latest news from both candidates and points beyond for your consideration.
Off with you.
You don't have anything to tell. Stone brows, clothier. Oh, I can't see shit. Burbick's supplies. Check Burbick.
Can I help you?
Trade supplies. Oh, you sell some designs. The Jade Eye. 8 dodge. Plus 3 weapon damage. Oh, this is nice.
I've seen you.
But I guess that's all you have for me, eh, Burbick? There's deep mountain mining and jewel crafting. And there's this place. Oh, shaman trainers.
What do you need, stranger?
The spirits of the elements surround us.
Go on, then.
No, nothing for me? It's disappointing. Well, do I wanna... Let's first complete the quest. Look at the great handle. This is where good stuff happens, I think. Look at that guy.
What can I do for you?
Corin Twin Bellows. Heavy armor. Physical damage taken reduced by 99%. He takes no damage. He's the ultimate tank. Royal Historian Archizonus.
How are you?
Greetings, Gordoth. Have you come to learn the history of Ironforge?
Off with you.
Yeah, kinda. Wildhammer fact checker. Falstad Wildhammer. Muradin Bronzebeard. Oh, it is Muradin Bronzebeard. The guy on the...
Call me hammer, call me axe. Let's get to work!
The mountain lends us its strength.
What is the meaning of this intrusion? And just what is this? Moira takes the report and the color drains from her face as she reads. This is impossible! How dare you storm into my throne room and attempt to spread this conspirational nonsense? I will not let you and this treasonous Commander Stonebreaker steal my son's birthright. That's quite an accusation, Moira. It's hardly your throne room in the first place. I know Commander Stonebreaker and I will vouch for his loyalty and his honesty. We must take his word. What cause do the Dark Irons have for taking a parasite against Ironforge? Are you unable to control your own people, Moira? Muradin has a point. If you cannot govern your own people, you have no place at this table. Both of you know I would never order such a thing. Why would I set one half of my son's inheritance against the other? No, this is the work of a traitor to both our peoples. Despite my best efforts, some dark irons remain in the grip of the Twilight's hammer. The cult must have someone in the city to coordinate this kind of attack. That only leaves one suspect, Ambassador Slaghammer.
Well,
The Ambassador's betrayal will long haunt me. You must arrest him before he can do further harm, or worse, before he can escape and start planning the next attack. Ironforge is not safe with Ambassador Slaghammer free inside the city. Take these manacles and go to the Dark Iron Embassy. It's just to the north of the High Seat, around the rim of the Great Forge. Arrest Ambassador Slaghammer and return to him. And return with him.
may the Black Anvil watch over you.
Guards, there's Deliana. Try not to draw too much attention. I'm waiting for the council to grant me an audience. Not that I mind waiting. I feel pretty safe around all these burly guards.
Safe travels.
I've been waiting for the council to hear me plea for hours, and it's not looking good. Moira's greatest desire seems to be to paralyze the council. Meanwhile, Lochmodan suffers. Our enemies are many and our resources are few. Please, Gordoth, perhaps you will hear me if the council will not. Speak to Grith Thurden, Ironforge's Griffin Master. He's in the eastern part of the Great Forge. He'll provide a free flight to the South Gate Pass. Introduce yourself to Pilot Hammerfoot once you arrive.
Very good.
Okay, reinforcements for Lochmodan. This is essentially Heroes Call Lochmodan. So I'm not actually gonna go and do that quest now. You're under arrest. I go willingly, death not. My purpose in my master's plan is fulfilled. Glad to see that Dark Iron scum is finally getting what he deserves. Quiet! Moira's in a foul mood, and if she hears you, she'll have your head. I have brought him before you. If we were in Shadowforge City, I would have you tossed into the ring of law for your transgressions, Ambassador. The darkest dungeons of Ironforge will have to do for now. Do as you will with me. I am not afraid. That half-breed runt will never be my emperor. Long live Twilight's hammer! I'll escort you to your new accommodations, Your Excellency.
The Alliance has
The ambassador
needed
will
our
trouble us no more.
as
He's
well
not the
as
only
our
dark-haired
strength.
dwarf whose heart still belongs to Twilight's hammer. We must remember that and remain vigilant against their schemes, else my son will inherit only ruins and ashes.
You may take your leave.
Battle axe of the sober dwarf. That's an oxymoron, lad. It's a meh axe. It's okay. I'm gonna come down here and I'm gonna take a glance. Ooh, glance. Glance, glance, glance. I freaking love this sword. It has such a long handle, and then it has such a long piece of it that is kind of like a handle. It's awesome. But that's the problem. It shouldn't look like this is a handle. It should look like this part is part of the sword itself. All those books and none of them are readable. Thank you, Blizzard. Thank you, thank you.
How are ya?
You should have seen it, Gordoth. Moira comes down here to talk to the stone, as she's wanted to do trying times. I left them alone, least I can do for a daughter and her pa. Then there's a crack and a crash like you've never heard, and I rush back in to see what happened. And there's Magni, walking and talking, made of crystal from head to toe. His voice rumbled like a mountain slide, telling us that he speaks for the land now, that he's a part of Azeroth. Didn't take him but a moment to give the clan leaders the dire warning of the Legion's return. Then he up and left for a walkabout. He muttered something about Ulduar. I sent word to his brother Bran. Hope he can find Magni and get to the bottom of this.
Safe travel.
Oh my fucking god. Why would you do that? Hope he can. It's literally the word for kin. He can find Magni. What? Alright, fine. I get it. You're trying to portray the accent. But he can. That's just, no, that's just bad. Just bad. By the way, with this we are done with the starting zones for all the races. I've done them all. Completed. Perfectly. Yeah, I've done Draenei, I've done Night Elves, I've done humans, I've done warriors, I've done gnomes, and I've done now dwarves. And gnomes and dwarves are literally the same thing. So, yeah, pretty cool. What is this place? Is this an inn, or is it a home? Looks like it's a home. It's a home indeed. Scraw. Bilbo Longberry, the fruit vendor. Straight from the lush forests of Elwyn. Get your fresh fruit right here. Okay, let me get them.
You have a great day now.
1, 2,
I can't use
3,
that other man.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You, come back here.
Making a special purchase?
I might have lost a little bit of gold, but I ate a bunch of apples. And I'm healthy. I'm now healthy, yes. I ate a bunch of fruits. Maeva's mystical apparel. Why did I read it as apparel?
I've the finest
Rogue
wares in
merchant.
the land.
I've the finest wares in the land. Sink your teeth into a fresh ripe apple.
Interesting.
Tavash del Kisel. Hello. If you hear about fee collection and or a summons, then you must have me mistaken for someone else. Terribly sorry.
Daylight's burning.
Yes. Moonstone crystals. See, I know the moonstone crystals. I know my stuff. I really do know my stuff. I promise, I know my stuff. But for real, sis. I know my stuff.
Hi.
Timur. This one doesn't even say a thing. He just hi. Night Elf houses were so much better because those guys straight up lived on the street. Hall of Mysteries. There's mage trainers, portal trainer, priest trainers. Okay, there's paladin trainers. Okay. What's up here? Let's see. Curiosity will kill this cat, or rather, will it won't kill this cat because this cat cannot die. Mage trainers, priest trainers, paladin trainer, mage trainer, teaser battleforge. Alright, so this place is straight up worthless. This pool over here, I can fish it. I know that I can fish it. Right? There aren't any fish here. Longberry's reagents. Okay, that's disappointing that I can't fish in here.
Good date.
Look at this. The
Seeing you.
only reagent that exists still. Vanishing powder. Vanishing. Okay, I don't think I'll find anything interesting here, so I'm getting out of here. I'll pass through the Forlorn Cavern. I don't think I will actually enter the Forlorn Cavern. Look at this fucker. Look at these two fuckers. It's Gurky and Murky.
What's on your mind?
I would like to enter my secret code to receive my Murloc pet. I want a Murloc pet. I want a Murloc costume. I want a big blizzard bear.
Very good.
Fucking hell.
I have the finest wires in the land. See you soon.
My, you're a tall one.
My, you're the tall one. This pool has fishes in it, and I can fish up old Iron Jaw, I think. Or old, whatever he is. In here. Hall of Explorers. Now we can begin. Uldaman relics. These etched relief runners were perhaps the most significant find within the first chambers of Uldaman. The etchings clearly suggest a tie between the golem-like earthen and the dwarven race. Should further evidence arise, the theories of our supposed creation by the mythic titans could prove to be true. Nice. This remnant from the Second War serves as a stirring reminder of just how perilously close the Horde came to conquering Ironforge Mountain. Just a bunch of artifacts from Uldaman. These ancient pieces of earthenware were recovered from the Uldaman excavation. Though they hold little in the way of suggestive runes or hieroglyphs, they do provide a telling look at the craftsmanship and day-to-day accessories of the ancient dwarven race. A Horde catapult that was, okay. This thing here is a highborn astrolabe. Recovered from the undersea ruins of Suramar, this functional astrolabe was crafted by the highborn night elves nearly 12,000 years ago. The highborn, obsessed with magic, the occult and astronomy, developed a series of ingenious apparatuses. This device provides invaluable insights into the ancient night elves' level of scientific understanding. Oh no. Oh. Oh. Suddenly I was disconnected for no good reason. Thank you, Blizzard. Thank you, Blizzard. Amazing performance, I dare say. You can send mail to other players in your realm or even to your other characters from any mailbox in game. Okay. Slowly thinking. And we are back, right? This here thing, is it right? Oh, I guess it's this. Pterodon skeleton.
It's too far away.
Look at it. This intact Pterodon skeleton was recovered from the remote Ungaro crater. Based on the skeleton structure, it is clear that this specific genus has not yet been encountered. This skeleton could have been preserved for any number of centuries beneath the region's rich soil. There's a ram. This is a scale replica of Tooth Gnasher's skeleton. The legendary ram was a wonder of Khazmor-Dahan and the subject of many tales of dwarven folklore. To this day, ecologists have been unable to account for the ram's freakish size or physical stature. Gero strider. The largest of the plain strider birds, the Gero are few in number and rarely encountered. Saurial eggs. Found in the remote rainforests of the Ungaro crater, these eggs once held an embryonic devilsaur. The saurial's genetic material has proven invaluable to legal ecologists who are closer than ever to devising a serum for the devilsaur's debilitating venom. Rock talon. This petrified talon was found off the southern coasts of Stranglethorn. Ecologists believe this talon to be that of an ancient sun rock, though the creature's feature prominently in primitive Tauran mythological cycles, the existence of this talon suggests that the creature truly existed at some point. Fossilized egg. Found in the sweltering wastes of the Tanaris Desert, this peculiar egg remains a mystery to modern ecologists. Dating tests suggest the egg could be up to 1,000 years old. Though certain elements denote insectoid structure, its true origins cannot be discerned. The species that lays such distinct eggs still remains to be discovered. That is what we want.
Daylight's
So you want me to go to Felwood? Well, that's gonna happen later. The skull of Tyrannistras. The remains of the gargantuan red dragon were found in the wetlands shortly after the Battle of Grimbatol. Tyrannistras was rumored to have been the elder consort of the dragon, Alexstrasza. Tyrannistras died fighting Deathwing. I know my lore, fellas. Tyrannistras died fighting Deathwing, whilst a band, a trio, if you will, of fellas helped the Dragon Queen get freed, along with Crassus, of course. Archaeology trader, Doctor with a K.
What can I do for
Doctor
you?
Professor.
Off with you.
Look at all these books. Oh no, I've read almost all of them. The Lands of Lordaeron. Yeah, I've read that one. The Civil War in the Plague Lands. Ner'zhul, Lich King. Sylvanas, weakened but determined to save his master. Yes. Rise of the Horde. Ah. Hey, look at that. I have not read that one. The orcs became increasingly aggressive under the secret control of Gul'dan and his Shadow Council. They constructed massive arenas where the orcs honed their warrior skills in trials of combat and death. During this period, a few clans' chieftains spoke out against the growing depravity in their race. One such chieftain, Durotan of the Frostwolf clan, warned against the orcs losing themselves to hate and fury. His words fell on deaf ears, however, as stronger chieftains such as Grom Hellscream of the Warsaw clan stepped forward to champion the new age of warfare and dominance. Kil Jaden knew that the orc clans were almost ready, but he needed to be certain of their ultimate loyalty. In secret, he had the Shadow Council summon Manaroth the Destructor, the living vessel of destruction and rage. Gul'dan called the clan chieftains together and convinced them that drinking Manaroth's raging blood would make them utterly invincible. Led by Grom Hellscream, all the clan chiefs, except Durotan, drank and thereby sealed their fates as slaves to the Burning Legion. Empowered by Manaroth's rage, the chieftains unwittingly extended this subjugation to their unsuspecting brethren. Consumed with the curse of this new bloodlust, the orcs sought to unleash their fury on any who stood before them. Sensing that the time had come, Gul'dan united the warring clans into a single unstoppable horde. However, knowing that the various chieftains like Hellscream and Orgrim Doomhammer would vie for overall supremacy, Gul'dan set up a puppet worship to rule over this new horde. Blackhand the Destroyer, a particularly depraved and vicious orc warlord, was chosen to be Gul'dan's puppet. Under Blackhand's command, the horde set out to test itself against the simple Draenei. Over the course of a few months, the horde eradicated nearly every Draenei living on Draenor. Only a scattered handful of survivors managed to evade the orcs' awesome wrath. Flushed with victory, Gul'dan reveled in the horde's power and might. Still, he knew that without any enemies to fight, the horde would consume itself with endless infighting in its unstoppable appetite for glorious slaughter. Kil'jaeden knew that the horde was finally prepared. The orcs had become the Burning Legion's greatest weapon. The cunning demon shared his knowledge with his waiting master, and Sargeras agreed that the time of his revenge had finally come.
Here there.
Historian Karnik.
Welcome to the Explorer's Ring. If you need information, and it's in a book, and it's in book form, then I might be able to help you.
Off with you.
Arthur and the Troll Wars. Oh, I haven't read
What's
that.
on your mind?
Bill Spearshaker. Author extraordinaire. Don't believe any of those rumors you've been hearing. I'm the only author of those novels, not that putrid undead corpse.
Safe travels.
Arthur and the Troll Wars. As the High Elves fought for their lives against the Trolls' fierce onslaught, the scattered, nomadic humans of Lordaeron fought to consolidate their own tribal lands. The tribes of early humanity raided each other's settlements with little heed for racial unification or honor. Yet one tribe, known as the Arathi, saw that the Trolls were becoming too great a threat to ignore. The Arathi wished to bring all of the tribes under its rule so that they could provide a united front against the Troll warbands. Over the course of 6 years, the cunning Arathi outmaneuvered and outfought the rival tribes. After every victory, the Arathi offered peace and equality to the conquered people. Thus, they won the loyalty of those they had beaten. Eventually, the Arathi tribe came to include many disparate tribes, and the ranks of its army grew vast. Confident that they could hold their own against the Troll warbands, or even the reclusive elves if need be, the Arathi warlords decided to construct a mighty fortress city in the southern regions of Lordaeron. The city-state, named Strom, became the capital of the Arathi nation. As Arthur prospered, humans from all over the vast continent traveled south to the protection and safety of Strom. United under one banner, the human tribes developed a strong, optimistic culture. Thoradin, the king of Arathor, knew that the mysterious elves in the Northlands were under constant siege by the Trolls, but refused to risk the safety of his people in defense of reclusive strangers. Many months passed as rumors of the elves' supposed defeat trickled down from the north. It was only when wary ambassadors from Kel'Thalas reached Strom that Thoradin realized how great a troll threat truly was. The elves informed Thoradin that the troll armies were vast and that once the trolls had destroyed Kel'Thalas, they would move on to attack the Southlands. The desperate elves, in dire need of military aid, hastily agreed to teach certain select humans to wield magic in exchange for their help against the warbands. Thoradin, distrustful of any magic, agreed to aid the elves out of necessity. Almost immediately, elven sorcerers arrived in Arathor and began to instruct a group of humans in the ways of magic. The elves found that although humans were innately clumsy in their handling of magic, they possessed a startling natural affinity for it. 100 men were taught the very basics of the elves' magical secrets, no more than was absolutely necessary to combat the trolls. Convinced that their human students were ready to aid in the struggle, the elves left Strom and traveled north alongside the mighty armies of King Thoradin. The united elf and human armies clashed against the overwhelming troll warbands at the foot of the Alterac Mountains. The battle lasted for many days, but the unflagging armies of Arathor never tired or gave an inch of ground before the troll onslaught. The elven lords deemed that the time had come to release the powers of their magic upon the enemy. The 100 human magi and the multitude of elven sorcerers called down the fury of the heavens and set the troll armies ablaze. The elemental fires prevented the trolls from regenerating their wounds and burned their tortured forms from the inside out. As the troll armies broke and attempted to flee, Thoradin's armies ran them down and slaughtered every last one of their soldiers. The trolls would never fully recover from their defeat, and history would never see the trolls rise as one nation again. Assured that Kel'Thalas was safe from destruction, the elves made a pledge of loyalty and friendship to the nation of Arathor, and to the bloodline of its king, Thoradin. Humans and elves would nurture peaceful relations for ages to come. War of the Three Hammers. Ironforge, the awakening of the dwarves.
How are ya?
Crom Stoutarm. Heirloom Vendor. Everything I need is on the first page. Everything I need is on the first page. Alright, off. Oh, poop, there's many books here. The Battle of Grimbat Hall. The Old Gods and the Ordering of Azeroth. Charge of the Dragonflights. Okay, let's start with War of the Three Hammers. I think I've read that one. The dwarves of Ironforge Mountain lived in peace for many long centuries. However, their society grew too large within the confines of their mountain cities. Though the mighty High King Mortimus Anvilmar ruled over all dwarves with justice and wisdom, three powerful factions had arisen amongst the dwarven society. That the Bronzebeard clan, ruled by Thane Madoran Bronzebeard, held close ties to the High King and stood as the traditional defenders of Ironforge Mountain. The Wildhammer clan, ruled by Thane Cardros Wildhammer, inhabited the foothills and crags around the base of the mountain and sought to gain more control within the city. The third faction, the Dark Iron clan, was ruled by the sorcerer Thane Thorusian. The Dark Irons hid within the deepest shadows under the mountain and plotted against both the Bronzebeard and the Wildhammer cousins. For a time, the three factions kept a tenuous peace, but tensions erupted when the High King Anvilmar passed away from old age. The three ruling clans went to war for control of Ironforge itself. The Dwarf Civil War raged under the earth for many years. Eventually, the Bronzebeards, who had the largest standing army, banished the Dark Irons and Wildhammers from under the mountain. Cardros and his Wildhammer warriors traveled north through the barrier gates of Dunalgaz, and they founded their own kingdom within the distant peak of Grimbat Hall. There, the Wildhammers thrived and rebuilt their stores of treasure. Thorusian and his Dark Irons did not fare as well. Humiliated and enraged by their defeat, they vowed revenge against Ironforge. Leading his people far to the south, Thorusian founded a city which he named after himself, within the beautiful Red Ridge Mountains. Prosperity and the passing of years did little to ease the Dark Irons' rancor towards their cousins. Thorusian and his sorceress wife, Mordgood, launched a two-pronged assault against both Ironforge and Grimbat Hall. The Dark Irons were intent on claiming all of Cosmodan for their own. Wait, no, I closed it. Oh no, wrong book. For their own. The Dark Iron army smashed against their cousins' strongholds and very nearly took both kingdoms. However, Madoran Bronzebeard ultimately led his clan to a decisive victory over Thorusian Thorosian's sorcerer's army. Thorosian and his servants fled back to the safety of the city, unaware of the events transpiring at Grimbatol, where Modgood's army would fare no better against Gordoth and his Wildhammer warriors. As she confronted the enemy warriors, Modgood used her powers to strike fear into their hearts. Shadows moved at her command, and dark things crawled up from the depths of the earth to stalk the Wildhammers in their own halls. Eventually, Modgood broke through the gates and laid siege to the fortress itself. The Wildhammers fought desperately, Gordoth himself wading through the roiling masses to slay Sorcerer's Queen. With their queen lost, the Dark Irons fled before the fury of the Wildhammers. They raced south toward their king's stronghold, only to meet the armies of Ironforge, which had come to aid Grimbatol. Crushed between two armies, the remaining Dark Iron forces were utterly destroyed. The combined armies of Ironforge and Grimbatol then turned south, intent on destroying Thorosian and his Dark Irons once and for all. They had not gone far when Thorosian's fury resulted in a spell of cataclysmic proportions. Seeking to summon a supernatural minion that would ensure his victory, Thorosian called upon the ancient powers sleeping beneath the world. To his shock and ultimately his doom, the creature that emerged was more terrible than any nightmare he could have imagined. Ragnaros the Fire Lord, immortal lord of all fire elementals, had been banished by the Titans when the world was young. Now, freed by Thorosian's call, Ragnaros erupted into being once again. Ragnaros' apocalyptic rebirth into Azeroth shattered the Red Ridge Mountains and created a raging volcano at the center of the devastation. The volcano, known as Black Rock Mountain, was bordered by the Searing Gorge to the north and the Burning Steppes to the south. Though Thorosian was killed by the forces he had unleashed, his surviving brethren were ultimately enslaved by Ragnaros and his elementals. They remain within the depths of Blackrock to this day. Witnessing the horrific devastation and the fire spreading across the southern mountains, King Madoran and King Gordoth halted their armies and hastily turned back toward their kingdoms, unwilling to face the awesome wrath of Ragnaros. The Bronzebeards returned to Ironforge and rebuilt their glorious city. The Wildhammers also returned home to Grimbatol. However, the death of Modgood had left an evil stain on the mountain fortress, and the Wildhammers found it uninhabitable. They were bitter in their hearts over the loss of their beloved home. King Bronzebeard offered the Wildhammers a place to live within the borders of Ironforge, but the Wildhammers steadfastly refused. Gordoth took his people north toward the lands of Lordaeron, settling within the lush forests of the hinterlands. The Wildhammers crafted the city of Airy Peak, where the Wildhammers grew closer to nature and even bonded with the mighty griffins of the area. Seeking to retain relations and trade with their cousins, the dwarves of Ironforge constructed two massive arches, the Thandal's Pan, to bridge the gap between Khazmodan and Lordaeron. Bolstered by mutual trade, the two kingdoms prospered. After the deaths of Madoran and Gordoth, their sons jointly commissioned two great statues in honor of their fathers. The two statues would stand guard over the pass into the Southlands, which had become volcanic in the wake of Ragnaros' scorching presence. They served as both a warning to all who would attack the Dwarven kingdoms, and as a reminder of what price the Dark Irons paid for their crimes. The two kingdoms retained close ties for some years, but the Wildhammers were much changed by the horrors they witnessed at Grimbatol. They took to living above ground on the slopes of Airy Peak, instead of carving a vast kingdom within the mountain. The ideological differences between the two remaining Dwarven clans eventually led to their parting of ways. In the ancient times, after the Titans departed Azeroth, their children, known as the Earthen, continued to shape and guard the deep recesses of the world. The Earthen were largely unconcerned with the affairs of the surface-dwelling races, and longed only to plumb the dark depths of the earth. When the world was sundered by the Well of Eternity's implosion, the Earthen were deeply affected. Reeling with the pain of the earth itself, the Earthen lost much of their identity. I think I've read that already. Much of their identity, and sealed themselves within the stone chambers where they were first created. Uldaman, Uldum, Ulduar. These were the names of the affected Titan cities where the Earthen first took shape and form. Buried deep beneath the world, the Earthen rested in peace for nearly 8,000 years. Though it is unclear what awakened them, the Earthen sealed within Uldaman eventually arose from their self-imposed slumber. These Earthen found that they had changed significantly during their hibernation. Their rocky hides had softened and become smooth skin, and their powers over stone and earth had waned. they had become mortal creatures. Calling themselves dwarves, the last of the earthen left the halls of Uldaman and ventured out into the waking world. Still lulled by the safety of and wonders of the deep places, they founded a vast kingdom under the highest mountain in the land. They named their land Kazmodan, or Mountain of Kaz, in honor of the Titan Shaper Gordoth. Constructing an altar for their Titan father, the dwarves crafted a mighty forge within the heart of the mountain. Thus, the city that grew around the forge would be called Ironforge ever after. The dwarves, by nature fascinated with shaping gems and stone, set out to mine the surrounding mountains for riches and precious minerals. Content with their labor under the world, the dwarves remained isolated from the affairs of their surface-dwelling neighbors. Okay, let's begin with the old gods and the ordering of Azeroth. Unaware of Sargeras's mission to undo their countless works, the Titans continued to move from world to world, shaping and ordering each planet as they saw fit. Along their journey, they happened upon a small world that its inhabitants would later name Azeroth. As the Titans made their way across the primordial landscape, they encountered a number of hostile elemental beings. These elementals, who worshipped a race of unfathomably evil beings known only as the Old Gods, vowed to drive the Titans back and keep their world inviolate from the invaders' metallic touch. The Pantheon, disturbed by the Old Gods' penchant for evil, waged war upon the elementals and their dark masters. The Old Gods' armies were led by the most powerful elemental lieutenants, Ragnaros the Firelord, Thurzin the Storm Mother, Alakir the Wind Lord, and Neptulon the Tidehunter. Their chaotic forces raged across the fates of the world and clashed with the colossal titans. Though the elementals were powerful beyond mortal comprehension, their combined forces could not stop the mighty titans. One by one, the elemental lords fell, and their forces dispersed. The Pantheon shattered the Old Gods' citadels and chained the 5 evil gods far beneath the surface of the world. Without the Old Gods' power to keep their raging spirits bound back to the physical world, the elementals were banished to an abyssal plane, where they would contend with one another for all eternity. With the elementals' departure, nature calmed, and the world settled into a peaceful harmony. The Titans saw that the threat was contained and set to work. The Titans empowered a number of races to help them fashion the world, to help them carve out the fathomless caverns beneath the earth. The Titans created a dwarf-like earthen from magical living stone, to help them dredge out the seas and lift the land from the seafloor. The Titans created the immense but gentle sea giants. For many ages the Titans moved and shaped the earth, until at last there remained one perfect continent. As the continent's center, the Titans crafted a lake. At the continent's center, the Titans crafted a lake of scintillating energies. The lake, which they named the Well of Eternity, was to be the fount of life for the world. Its potent energies would nurture the bones of the world and empower life to take root in the land's rich soil. Over time, plants, trees, monsters, and creatures of every kind began to thrive on the primordial continent. As twilight fell on the final day of their labors, the Titans named the continent Kalimdor, Land of Eternal Starlight. Satisfied that the small world had been ordered and that their work was done, the Titans prepared to leave Azeroth. However, before they departed, they charged the greatest species of the world with the task of watching over Kalimdor, lest any force should threaten its perfect tranquility. In that age, there were many dragonflies. Yet, there were 5 flights that held dominion over their brethren. It was these 5 flights that the Titans chose to shepherd the budding world. The greatest members of the Pantheon imbued a portion of their power upon each of the flight's leaders. These majestic dragons, as listed below, became known as the Great Aspects, or the Dragon Aspects. Amand Thul, the High Father of the Pantheon, bestowed a portion of his cosmic power upon the massive bronze dragon, Nosdormu. The High Father empowered Nosdormu to guard time itself and police the ever-spinning pathways of fate and destiny. The stoic, honorable Nosdormu became known as the Timeless One. Eonar, the Titan patron of all life, gave a portion of her power to the Red Leviathan, Alexstrasza. Ever after, Alexstrasza would be known as the Lifebinder, and she would work to safeguard all living creatures within the world. Due to her supreme wisdom and limitless compassion for all things, Alexstrasza was crowned a dragon queen and given dominion over her kind. Eonar also blessed Alexstrasza's younger sister, the lithe green dragon Ysera, with a portion of nature's influence. Ysera fell into an eternal trance, bound by the walking dream of creation. Known as a dreamer, she would watch over the growing wilds of the world from her verdant realm, the Emerald Dream. Norganon, the Titan lore keeper and master magician, granted the blue dragon, Malygos, a portion of his vast power. From then on, Malygos will be known as the Spellweaver, the guardian of magic and hidden arcanum. Gordoth, the Titan shaper and forger of the world, bestowed some of his vast power upon the mighty black worm, Neltharion, the great-hearted Neltharion, known afterwards as the Earth Warder, was given dominion over the earth and the deep places of the world. He embodied the strength of the world and served as Alexstrasza's greatest supporter. Thus empowered, the 5 aspects were charged with the world's defense in the Titans' absence. With the dragons prepared to safeguard their creation, the Titans left Azeroth behind forever. Unfortunately, it was only a matter of time before Sargeras learned of the newborn world's existence. Whew! The Battle of Grimbatol. Meanwhile, in the war-torn lands of the south, the scattered remnants of the Horde fought for their very survival. Though Gromhelmscream and his Warsong clan managed to evade capture, Deadeye and his Bleeding Hollow clan were rounded up and placed in the internment camps in Lordaeron. Notwithstanding these costly uprisings, the camp's wardens soon re-established control over their brutish charges. However, unknown to the Alliance, a large force of orcs still roamed free in the northern wastes of Khaz Modan. The Dragonmaw clan, led by the infamous warlock Necros, was using an ancient artifact known as the Demon Soul to control the Dragon Queen, Alexstrasza, and her Dragonflight. With the Dragon Queen as his hostage, Necros built up a secret army within the abandoned, some say cursed, Wildhammer stronghold of Grimbatol. I fucking hate Necros' guts. I hate all those orcs who abused the Red Dragon fight. Planning to unleash his forces on the mighty Red Dragons on the Alliance, Necros hoped to reunite the Horde and continue its conquest of Azeroth. His vision did not come to pass. A small group of resistance fighters, led by the human mage Rohonin, managed to destroy the Demon Soul and free the Dragon Queen from Reknos' command. Ronin, picked by Crassus, my bad, not Crassus, Crassus, who was, wink wink, some would say a lover of Alexstrasza, but he was a consort. In their fury, Alexstrasza's dragons tore Grimbatol apart and incinerated the greater bulk of the Dragonmaw clan. Necros' grand schemes of reunification came crashing down as the Alliance troops rounded up the remaining orc survivors and threw them into the waiting internment camps. The Dragonmaw clan's defeat signaled the end of the Horde, and the end of the orcs' furious bloodlust. And fuck the Dragonmaw clan, I hate them to this day. Fuck Dragonmaw clan. You hear me? You hear me? Curse! Nay! Fuck the Dragonmaw clan. Holy frick. That was a long experience. What do you want to send me?
Watch your back.
Nah, it's not time yet. Well, I've been Gordoth Enodious, and this has been the longest episode yet. Farewell.